Introducing the Omni-Win Project. Hey folks, it's probably not a surprise to you if I tell you that democracy is having a hard time. I'd like to point out that there's pretty much a global consensus that things aren't working. Our system, and I don't just mean the United States, but that's relevant here, is ineffective and it's divisive. People don't believe that this system represents their voices because it doesn't, and we're not really making the effort to do so. We don't seem to be able to be making collective decisions about really important things, either about how to integrate things from our past, how to deal with current issues that are on the table right now, or how to deal with the long-term stuff that's coming down the pike. We have a rivalrous win-lose system and paradigms and thinking that kind of ensures that we're constantly in a divisive system, and it seems to be getting worse, and we're organizing ourselves not just geographically, but by us and them, right and wrong, good and bad. It's becoming this way that diversity is not necessarily the boon that it can be, and instead it's proving to be a source of challenge and frustration. And I mean all the kinds of diversity. So, in my opinion, we need to desperately evolve our democracy, and we need to develop a political culture that understands our interconnectedness and is really aiming to meet everyone's needs. We need to ensure that everyone has a voice in the decisions that affect their lives. We need, in other words, an omni-win political culture, an omni-win democracy. So I recently decided to just dedicate my life, or at least for the foreseeable future, to working on supporting this evolution of democracy. I'm starting right here, and actually I've been doing it a bit already. I'm making videos, I'm writing essays, and this summer I'm going to be launching a new podcast. I'm calling all of this the Omni-Win Project. So who am I to be saying that I'm going to be doing this project? It's a good question. And how did I get here? So let me tell you a little bit about myself. My name is Duncan Autrey. I was born in Southern California, grew up in Colorado, lived most of my adult life abroad, and now live in the Bay Area of California. I call myself a conflict transformation catalyst. I'm trying to accelerate the process of us transforming our relationship with conflict. Now, I've been thinking about this kind of stuff since childhood. I was thinking about this when I was in high school, and I went to college in Switzerland and in Washington, D.C., and my major was in international relations and intercultural communication. Then I went to the Peace Corps, and then after that, I became a mediator. And I remember my very first mediation training, long time ago now, I called myself an agent of peace, and realizing that that was something that I wanted to do. So I learned about mediation, worked with lots and lots of people there, and then I started thinking, wow, how can we expand this to a much wider population? Because we can resolve conflict for two people. Why can't we resolve it for more? Because that's how peace is going to happen, right? And I learned more about dialogue, and I started studying all these different tools to deal with conflicts at 2, 10, 100, 1,000 people. We can get them into a pretty good conversation. So what's it going to take for us to get 100,000 or 100 million or 8 billion people into some sort of coherent conversation? I wasn't really sure how to do that, and hadn't seen anyone do it yet, but I had the realization that conflict is a fractal, in the sense that it's self-similar at all scales. It looks the same between 2 people or 10 people or 2 political parties or 2 countries. Whatever we're looking at, it all has the same qualities across the board. So it struck me that maybe if we can figure out if conflict can be a fractal, the ways we can resolve it can be a fractal. That was the idea that I took to grad school. I was a World Peace Fellow, went down to Argentina and studied peace and conflict and security studies. They wouldn't let me write a thesis about conflict as a fractal. So I studied mining conflicts and the intersection between multinational companies and communities and government, and how do we deal with those kinds of conflicts. And over these years, I came out of that and have been trying to be a freelance conflict transformation catalyst. And over these years, I've developed this global network of folks. I have people I worked in Ecuador. I worked in Colombia. I got involved with Mediators Beyond Borders, which took me to places like Ireland, Turkey, Brussels, Romania, Indonesia. I've been to conferences with other professionals in Austin, Texas, New Orleans, New Haven, Seattle, and the Bay Area, and many other places. Also became part of the Democracy, Politics, and Conflict Engagement Initiative, which we call DPACE. Coming after grad school and all of this networking, being a freelance conflict transformation catalyst, I was really hoping to build my career that way. And it's been great. I've been doing this for well over a decade. But I learned that trying to say that I have the solution to all of the problems, to all the people, not very good marketing. It was a little too broad, let's say. So that was a frustration. It's been hard for me to sort of figure out where to direct my attention in my career. And I also kind of had the experience of being really frustrated with only dealing with people after their conflicts were just a huge problem already. I started getting committed to the idea of going upstream from conflict. How can I help people recognize that they don't have to get into the situation in the first place? And in all of this time, I also started a podcast. I called it Fractal Friends, and we had a good 5-year run there. It was a great hobby. There wasn't very many listeners to it, but I loved doing it. Anyways, all of this came to a head at the end of 2020. You may remember that the United States is in a state of political crisis. I found myself with my heart going one direction and my profession going the other direction and all my skill sets going in another direction. And so I kind of did a hard reset on my personal professional journey. And I asked myself the question, what is the intersection point of my passion, my profession, and my purpose? In a way, I've known for a while that part of my purpose is to make conflict exciting. What I mean by that is that I want to show people that this is an opportunity to thrive. It's a natural product of being diverse people, and it doesn't have to be as bad as we think it to be. And I don't know, want people to think, oh wow, we have differing opinions. What a cool opportunity for us to learn about each other. And then I also just have this passion for trying to figure out how to help democracy, get the tools so that we don't keep them having these crappy conversations all the time. And how can I just amplify the fact that we have the tools out here? This is really amazing. How can more people know about the capacity for transforming conflict that so many people have been developing over the years? What do I do with this global network of people? What do I do with this excitement for podcasting? And so bringing it all together, I have found a sustainable cause that I think is going to be exciting for me to do for the long haul. The Omni-Win Project. Now, it did take me most of 2021 to get everything together, and so here we are. And this is a new podcast. It's also going to be moving towards building a community and a movement. And so let me tell you what the thinking is behind this. So I look around and see that people agree that things aren't working, but I also notice that there seems to be very little movement towards making the change or for doing the changes that are available to us. And it also seems to me that we have everything we need. We have the skills, we have the technology, we have the attention, we have the desire. So my thinking is that either people don't know that all these tools exist to help us build the future we want to live in, or they don't believe it, or they don't believe that it would be better. Maybe people are just stuck in the status quo. And also just what's going on with all these amazing people that are working on this stuff. There's people who are doing philosophy, people doing the actual skills, people who are doing the legislation, people who are dealing with the emotional, personal experience of all of this. Why isn't it coming together? So my thinking is maybe they just don't see themselves as being part of some bigger movement, or they don't know about each other, or maybe they just don't have chances to talk to each other. So here's what I'm going to do. With this Omni-Win project, my strategy is to elevate the existence of conflict transformation tools and community and all the clever ideas that there are for doing this kind of work. And I'm going to be, in the podcast, I'm going to be interviewing people from all these different fields. I also am going to put them in conversation with each other. And I'm going to be asking them, what are the strengths of what you have going on? What are the challenges that you're facing? And what are the things that you need? And who can help you? And how can we help you? And I'm also going to explicitly start exploring with them, what is it concretely going to take for us to have a better election season in the United States in 2024 or 2028? Eventually, the podcast is going to be launching this summer, but the next things will be coming will be cool trainings on how to do this. I'll be bringing in some of these amazing experts, and I'm also going to be building a community. If you want to get involved with that, there'll be plenty of opportunities going forward. But one thing you can do is just wherever you're watching this or listening to this, sign up, subscribe to whatever this is. The best track for you to get involved right now or to find out what's happening is at omniwin.substack.com. And you'll find the link for that right down here. So here's the thing. I know that this is kind of a crazy, impossible project. I don't know if I'm going to be able to pull this off, but I'm thinking about this in a couple of different ways. First of all, I'm excited to be learning as I go along. This first phase will be really about talking to different people and finding out what they see as the issues and the challenges and letting myself adapt as this project evolves. But I also recognize that this is not something I have to do alone. In fact, this isn't something that I can do alone. This is something we get to do together. This is going to be a recruiting mission. This is going to be a collective project. And not only are we standing on the shoulders of many that came before, but we also get to collectively build the future we want, because it really is up to all of us. And the reason I think this is possible is because I know that I'm not alone. So who are these other folks? Who do I think these people are that are ready to help make this new future possible? Why do I have so much optimism about this? Well, that's what I'm going to tell you about. Stay tuned, subscribe, and go to omniwin.substack.com to get distillations and writings and information about all the things that are coming your way. Thank you so much for watching this, and have a great day.